Thank you for your nice talk. I'm Masa from Kyushu University. I have a question to Cor-Paul about your research. So finally you told us that the future is very nice to using the LLMs to detect bugs in the videos. And my question is that, for example, in the domain of the games, they need to hire many test players to play the games and detect the bugs. But if we only use LLMs, we cannot play the videos, or it's very difficult to replay or something to do that. So how to gain or collect the data from, for example, in the game domain?
So thank you. That's a very good question. So I think first of all, it's important to stress that we're not trying to replace human testers, right? This is really something where you use it as an assistant. So there exist lots of techniques for automatically playing games. Most of them are based on reinforcement learning or some kind of bot that's playing. Many game companies already have these. Okay, so they are capable of either automatically playing the game or automatically executing a test scenario. Just the analysis of the actual test run is the difficult problem, right? So we see the foundation models being useful in two scenarios. So one is where you have a bot play the game, for example, a nightly build, and then you use foundation model to analyze a video of that play session. And the second one is where a human tester is playing the game and you get feedback in real time about things that are going wrong, right? Because even a human tester cannot see everything that's going wrong, especially when you're playing a game. You're really focusing on certain parts of the screen or certain actions, so it's easy to overlook things, right? So it can be very helpful if you have an assistant telling you that, hey, there's something wrong on this part of the screen. Okay.
Any questions from our audience? Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
I have a question to Rieko. Thank you very much for sharing your experience for my industrial applications. And my question is about evaluations. You mentioned result of LLM traceability recovery. You compared with ground truth. However, how about compared with human expert? Because recovering traceability link is a very difficult task even for human engineers. And in your presentation, result precision is not good, but recall is somehow not bad. I think this result can be compared with human engineers.
Thank you for your question. We set result. My teammate said the correct answer. So she is not expert this domain. So in some case, the correct answer is not correct. So as you say, we have to uncheck the correct answer with expert. We have to do.
Actually, the point of my question is your tool can be used as a supporter or supporter for novice engineers.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's discuss later.
Okay, yeah, actually I have a follow-up question. So I think it's very interesting that you show the LLM is useful for traceability task. But regarding the result, how do you think the LLM, how much reliability the current method is? Do you think it's is already a good status, or it can be further improved?
We have to improve because LLM output the degree of relevance around the threshold. So we have to set ideal distribution, and we have to teach LLM to criteria of relevance and get answer.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So, yeah, any more questions from our audience? Yes, actually, can I ask some questions regarding the Fujitsu's work? I think you made a very interesting work on the handling different documentations. And I also see that the detection rate rises quite a lot before you conversion and not converted, right? So there's a slide on that. Do you see? Can you give more information on why that conversion helps a lot in the detection?
Sorry. You said evaluation detail, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We just check the comparison of the detailed document and the basic document, multiple document for the consistency check. So we do not other aspect of the review checking points. So for the future work, we have to check the other aspect of the review check and checking and the various variety of the design type and also we do not have the ability of the figures and such as figure. So yeah, it's our future work.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, so yeah, Mali, I think you do a lot of great work on the benchmarking and evaluation of LLM for code. So I think this is a very important part. But now I think some AI researchers are also doing some similar work, and it's in very fast speed. So from the software engineering researchers and the community part, what do you think will be the things that we can do to gear up with this AI community to make this better together?
Thank you for the question. Yes, I do believe this should be a community-driven effort. For example, the big benchmark in the NLP domain. The paper, I think it has more than 300 or so authors. So we definitely, as a software engineering community, need to move toward creating these benchmarks together and each one of us contributing to those. But we definitely need to have or take a stance here because the AI community focuses more what we have seen on the generation and but as software engineers, we also care about the reasoning capabilities of these models and whatever they can do as a software agent.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so a question to Cor-Paul. So I guess you showed it for games, but especially a lot of applications today, like a lot of part of testing GUI is very manual, and especially in some cases, well, maybe, for example, if you have mobile apps, you might have an app for Android and an app for iOS and all these different platforms. And are you doing any work to try to sort of automate that type of GUI-based testing, or is anybody else doing? Or maybe it's a question for everybody in the audience. I'm curious.
So we've recently started to do something with Firefox, with Mozilla. on this type of work. Other than that, there's a lot of work that more or less does this for mobile. So one of the benefits for Android, for example, is that you have a way to drive the application. For a lot of other more generic GUIs, this is a lot more tricky. So there is some work in the domain, but it's starting up. My expectation is that it's actually easier to do than testing for games, because you usually have clearly identifiable components in the GUI that you can actually know what to do and know what they should look like, compared to games which have all these weird physics-related bugs. So especially for GUIs, it's very promising. Yeah.
Do you think that there could be a general way that can handle different kind of interactive, through interaction to different type of software? Like game could be one, web could be one, or other similar types of like robotics through large language models?
So you're asking what's the challenge of doing that?
The challenge is there's a universal way of doing all the testing across different applications.
Oh, I see. So, well, you have two problems, right? So you have one where you actually drive the application and do the actions, and the other one is where you analyze what's happening on the screen. So I think for the analysis, this can become a way to do it for all different types of applications. For actually driving the application, you probably will still need different tools, but we already have tools for some of those applications, right? For web applications, we can use Selenium in combination with GPT, so some people have been doing that, and so on. So they're separate problems, but we can already do it for some types of applications.
Okay, yeah.
So I have a question for Mali. So, and maybe not just a question specifically, but for a lot of the work on benchmarking, it's all about creating like examples, okay? What the problem is that means that as soon as the benchmark is created, then it will be polluted. Like, so it doesn't seem to me that this is the right approach. It seems to me you need an approach that's, the benchmark is actually automatically generated. It's the same way when we make exams, we don't reuse exams from term to term because the students share it.
Do I agree with you with the problem of data contamination? I think one way to go about that is have a held-out set. So you have an evaluation set that people get to evaluate their methods on, but you also have a held-out set that then people send their generations or the outputs of their models to the team that created the benchmark, and then they can share the results and put it on the leaderboard, etc. So in this way, they don't overfit on the evaluation set and be contaminated that way. Yeah.
Yeah, so if I can follow up, Hugging Face actually has a nice feature for that. So you can keep certain parts of the data, you can keep it a secret, and then you can only evaluate it by computing the overall performance on the data. You don't actually get to see the ground truth.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I also have a question to Mali about the benchmark. So software engineering community also now has a lot of replication packages after the paper is accepted. So replication package include the data set and also the script to replicate the study result, right? So is that also the one part of the benchmark? Is it possible to become replication package also the benchmark, or still need to do more work to become benchmark?
For benchmarking, we definitely need consistency, standards, processing, cleaning, etc. But that's a nice idea to have replication packages of studies as a benchmark as well. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Mas, please.
Yeah, I'm also interested in the benchmark things. And I think this question may be related to the Ahmad's one, maybe not. But so large language models uses the data in the internet. So even if we prepare the open benchmarks, in the future, the LLMs run trained on that dataset, which means that we cannot fairly evaluate LLMs. So how to, address such kind of the problems, I think we have to prepare the closed data set to evaluate the LLMs. But in that case, how do we, prepare the open benchmark?
I'm not sure if I got the question correctly. Let me clarify here. So it's the same question that the data gets contaminated because it's on the internet and then the models are trained on it. So the same, I would say that we can solve that or go about that with held out sets, and also like having, checking them on new unseen data, like the way that we did with Code for Me. That's my 2 cents, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I have some questions regarding the usage privacy relevant issues for the actually the industrial cases. So in your like in DENSO and in Fujitsu, when you using large language models, do you have some concerns and regarding the internal information privacy will be sent to ChatGPT and or large language models, other services, and any thoughts on that? Yeah, you can start with the DENSO. Yeah.
Thank you for the question. We are using Azure OpenAI because we can protect our data. Microsoft protect our data. Do not our data use our data to training data. So because we are using Azure OpenAI right now.
Okay. Yeah. How about this side?
Yeah, we also use Azure OpenAI. It might be a similar reason, and we have the guideline for the using outside LLM, and we cannot send the confidential materials for the ChatGPT under the also opt out the running option and so we can save our confidential information.
Okay, thank you.
If I may add to that, there was a news article a while ago that Samsung employees leaked private information of the company through using ChatGPT. So afterward, there were many companies that restricted the access to these models inside the company.
Okay. Yeah, I think you also bring I think it's very interesting issue is about the copyright licensing in a benchmark. So regarding that, what do you think may be the challenging things when, for example, from the evaluation benchmarking point of view or from the industry point of view, when we develop these or fine-tune the large language models, things need to be paying attention to?
Yeah, definitely. As a community, I think we all care about licensing, and we need better filtering and cleaning processes. For example, for this open input training data that we investigated, they only checked individual files for permissive or non-permissive licenses, but they didn't check for duplicates. So there were a huge number of exact duplicates of the same files, which people copied, but they changed the license themselves somehow. So I think we can do better in this regard, having a bit more rigorous techniques in checking the licenses and have a permissive input training.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Cor-Paul, I'm not sure whether you are also experiencing similar things on the context of games, because I think the majority of the gaming company have a lot of concerns on these sharing the internal stuff outside, right? So, yeah, any thoughts on your side?
So the work we've done so far, what I presented today was not in collaboration with industry. So it's just our data came from Reddit. People post on Reddit short videos of bugs. I know that once we start working with an industry partner again, they usually want to evaluate these techniques on games that are already out there. So they will not send screenshots of games that are unreleased or things and so on. So it's a concern, so not so much for privacy of user data, but more about new information about new unreleased games not coming out.
Hi, I have a question to Cor-Paul. I have two actually. So the first one is more of a curiosity question. So your analysis basically works on screenshots, like images, right? So if I have a video, is there any equivalent, like any model that would operate directly on videos, or would I need to sample frames from this video? And if I need to sample, kind of what technique would I use? Because random sampling wouldn't be great, right? You could have many frames that are very similar to one another, for instance. So basically in the case of videos, like how would you go about it?
So there's nothing really that works on videos. Most techniques that claim that they work on videos, they just work on frames and they do some aggregation of the results. So that's also what we did. We just chop up the video in frames. What we did was, I think we took 1 frame per second, basically with the idea that if it doesn't pop up in that period of 1 second between frames, then we don't really care about it. But you can do it as often as you want, right? If you want it really precisely, but in the end, if a human doesn't observe the glitch, then
I see.
Who really cares?
The other thing is more of a comment, I think. So getting this type of data, right, with big industries and games, it might be really hard. But one of the things you could possibly look into is kind of the emulation community, because the emulators, a lot of them already collect telemetry data, and the users don't care about this collection of data because they want the emulators to improve, right? So, you know, these communities might be interested in having mechanisms to flag and detect these visual glitches and stuff, and might be willing to share data or whatever. So anyways.
So a problem with emulators is that most of them are not, so the emulators are legal, but not the ROMs.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's
another problem is that these are very old games, right? You cannot really compare glitches in, let's say, Super Mario 3 to a glitch in the newest FIFA or Assassin's Creed game.
I would argue that that's debatable. Like, we have already pretty good emulators for Switch, for instance. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
But they're not that good, man.
Okay.
We can talk offline about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Dai, maybe.
Thank you all for intriguing presentations. My question is for Maliheh. With the licensing infringements, there's definitely role for the LLM creators and data cleansing, whatnot, but what about the implications for the users? It's not just I'm violating a license, I might be including code that might be vulnerable, might have inconsistencies with other code within the code base. So can you say a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Very good question. So the different stakeholders have different responsibilities in this regard. So those who are building the models, those who are using them. And right now there is this large debate, lawsuits with these model builders and everything, and everybody's trying to push it on the other side. They say that it's the responsibility of the user who is going to use it. They are responsible to check the outputs. They need to make sure that it's like not infringing on the licenses, but of course it's not that easy or straightforward. I would say as a community, we should also think of revising the licensing that we have, because the license that we currently have didn't have this in mind, that it could be easy to use all of the input from the internet in such a scalable way previously. So nobody thought if I put my code on GitHub, it's going to be used for a model, a production model later on, and then people will monetize it. And maybe I'm not willing to do that. But these days, we need to come up with, as a community, I think we need to think about these and discuss them and come up with new licenses as well.
Yeah, go ahead, Ai.
Hi, my name is Dai. I have a question for Cor-Paul about the game part. So we know that for game quality assurance, a lot of game testers kind of need to play a lot of long hours of the game and then try to find glitches in different paths, because the internal states of games could be very large compared to other type of software. Other than just using LLM to automatically detect bugs, do you think there are other ways LLM can help? Sorry, not really language model, but large models, can they help in GAN quality assurance in any other ways?
So they probably can. So not necessarily large language, but reinforcement learning is used a lot already. I can imagine that at some point, maybe things like game map or something can be predicted or things like that. We haven't really looked into it. I think there are some opportunities. To be honest, I think playing the game is not the biggest problem for a lot of companies because they have access to the source code and can sort of just generate a driver for themselves. If you would want to do it in a very generic way, then it would be much more difficult, right? But I'm not sure how useful it would be, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question to the DENSO's work, the Takamoto-san. Yeah, it's an interesting scenario and a use case to utilize the large language model for traceability report. And my question is that I noticed that your precision score is really low, less than 50%, even though your recall rate is high. So my question is that with this low precision, your users will accept this tool? Are they satisfied with this precision? I mean, such a low precision may need a lot of confirmation working from the end user, right? So, but the traceability, especially for automobile industry, is very important, right? You have audit on it, right? So the precision of traceability, I believe, is important. So what may I have your opinion about the low precision problem? Yeah.
Yes, we have to improve our method to adapt the software development software development for production because it's insufficient performance right now. So we try to improve, and because now LLM put high relevance, degree of relevance if document has abstract one. So we have to teach LLM to how to set degree of relevance.
Yeah, so because the question is because the low precision will take a lot of effort for manual check again. Mm-hmm. So that might be a case even you find a solution so far, but it's not good enough for product level usage.
Yes.
So regarding that, do you have any idea how to move forward to make it in a way both usable and also kind of a cost balance?
Mm-hmm. It's not if this performance we can't use it actual development, so we have to improve the method first. And we try to set ideal distribution, and we try to improve our method.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
and also, I also have additional question to DENSO. So even if like a performance improved, but I feel like a practitioner want to know the reason, even if like a performance is good. So do you also want to know like some like a mechanism, like why precision is good or not, why like there is like such link between requirement and the unit. So even if there is no mechanism to explain why LLM generate that link, do you think DENSO apply that technique into DENSO's development process, or if performance is just perfect, DENSO don't care about a reason?
Even if performance was
Very good. If performance is very, very good, like a 90% or 99% of precision, then do you still practitioner want to know the reason, like why?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe developer wants to need reason why they said traceability link.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so that's a question for Mali. So you mentioned there's some benchmark that you're creating with Google Brain. If you maybe could talk a little bit about that, and then maybe my follow-up question is, I believe creating general benchmarks is good, but as well, many companies might like to as well create their own benchmark that's more customized for their own setting. And maybe my question for you is, from your experiences, what would be the 4 or 5 or maybe 3 things you think that are essential as you're going ahead to create your own benchmark for your own company, based on your experiences working on, say, many of these benchmarks?
Thank you for the question. So the first one, the benchmark that we are creating with Google DeepMind is about reasoning abilities of the models. So basically, it's inspired by the Big Bench benchmark, which is focused on the reasoning and understandability in the natural language domain. And we essentially want to come up with a set of tasks where there is a program, and we want to understand or use program analysis there to see what kind of information we can have and how we can fool these models. So far, it's been hard to fool, especially the Gemini model and the GPT-4 version model, but we are coming up with a set of tasks that we can fool the models there. For example, dead code elimination, which part of given a program, which part of it is dead already, so we can extract facts out of it. Or how we can manipulate tensor shapes or data frames shapes, tasks that are not so easy and straightforward as like the task in human eval dataset. And it's going to be a community-driven effort that answers your next question. I do agree some of these companies have their own benchmarking or the benchmarks that are tailored to their own cases. But with this one, it's going to be an open one, which I really like about this initiative that DeepMind is taking, not focusing their own model, Gemini, but rather building something for the whole community. And out of the 3, for example, the things that I would consider building a benchmark, the most important one is that is it representative of what we need from the models? Of course, addressing the data contamination problem, and also moving to our more complex tasks rather than trivial and easy tasks that we see in the current ones. Yeah.
Okay, so I think due to the time, maybe we have maybe let me ask one question for all of our speakers. Yeah, I think it's really nice in this session. We talk a lot about how the LLM can be helpful in the SE context. So on each of your tasks you are doing, I'm asking how long do you think you can achieve a satisfiable result? For example, in industrial context, in academia context, that can be really used in practice. And how long would you expect that goal can be reached? Yeah, maybe we start from Fujitsu.
Soon is better, but yeah, there is a lot of the problems. You know, the morning session, there is a problem, but coordination is vulnerability and hallucination and such a lot of things. And yeah, but in field, many developers want to utilize revise LLM for the development process. So yeah, we put our technology to the field and as possible as we can, and and we tackled some problems. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, how about DENSO?
As I mentioned in my presentation, we have some use cases in our software development, and some use cases already we achieve sufficient accuracy because I think it's related to task. Some tasks we can accept 80% recall and 80% precision, but some task is not. So yes, it's related to task, but yes, I think some task is already we achieved.
Okay, yes. Thank you. Yeah, how about Cor-Paul?
So I think something useful 1 year, something very useful 3 to 5 years. These vision models are really quite new, right? And they're really quite, there aren't that many yet, and we're sort of waiting for the really big jump in performance compared to what the large language models have done so far. So I think in the next 1 to 2 years, we're going to see a huge boost in performance of these models.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think, Mali? Okay. Thank you. If no further questions, maybe let's close this session. Let's thank our speakers again, and thank you for attending this session. Yeah, thank you.